Let me tell you something. I've fought in cages. I've battled in front of millions. But you want to know what really used to beat me? Shaving. Until now. I got my hands on this razor from House of Atlas, and I'm telling you, they brought the same championship level innovation to the men's shaving game. First off, the Atlas razor is a machine. Solid weight, sleek design, 5 blades, 0 clogging, and a precision trim edge, which flips back so I can add a layer of refinement to my shave. Then I grab the Precision Shave Cream. Thick, smooth, no drag. And I finish with their calming aftershave. No sting, just that cool, clean feeling. And check this out. They even include a magnetic hook for your mirror. That's the kind of detail that makes you realize these guys really have thought of everything. And the kicker, you can grab House of Atlas right now at Target or go online and get 20% off with free shipping at houseofatlas.com. Use the code Chael. Stop using razors that shave like garbage. Get the real deal with House of Atlas.
You know, I'm not negotiating with the UFC on behalf of myself for this fight like usual. I'm negotiating with the United States of America on behalf of Ireland for this fight. So it's a peculiar one. Trump and the administration have been fully supportive and backing, and I cannot wait to put on the show.
Boy. So, wow. When Conor is doing an interview, it's always open to interpretation. It's never a matter of, okay, here's the information that we got from Conor. If it was, I would just tell you, not one word of that is true, and I would get up and walk out of the room. But that's not a very fun conversation. However, there's not one word of that that's true. Conor is not negotiating with the United States government. And there's people that you can pull into your routine. There's people that are willful participants. And when you're doing a ruse with the media, that person becomes your tag team partner. Now, they've got to be willing. Howard Cosell, just for example, Muhammad Ali, incredible stuff. But they didn't work that out behind the scenes. This wasn't scripted. Howard Cosell understood that Cassius Clay was a performer. He understood that Muhammad Ali was a performer. So he teed up the questions, he gave the right facial reactions, he did enough to allow Muhammad Ali to go. If he just cut him off or he threw to somebody else, or if he was to call him out on his fact patterns, you have a problem. He understood that it was entertainment. So, when you have Conor, here's where it becomes a problem, guys. Here's where it's concerning for me. It's called marking out for your own gimmick. And it is a very easy thing to do. We as human beings are whoever we pretend to be. So, Ultimate Warrior is a great example. Rest his soul. Jim Hellwig is his name. He gets known as the Ultimate Warrior. He becomes the biggest thing in wrestling. His time with WWF, it was WWF back then, what you now know as WWE, had come to the end, but he wanted to take the Ultimate Warrior with him, and he argued to Vince McMahon, but I am the Ultimate Warrior, and Vince McMahon let him know, no, Ultimate Warrior is a character created by me and owned by my company, Titan. So Ultimate Warrior, to outsmart Vince McMahon, and to outsmart this entire it's a character, I am a real person, I am the Ultimate Warrior, went and changed his name legally. He legally changed his name to Warrior. His wife followed suit. Her name becomes Mrs. Warrior. The children's last name became Warrior. All before they get in front of a courtroom and a judge says, you're a doofus. Ultimate Warrior is a character created by Vince McMahon and owned by Titan Sports, and brings the gavel down. So, I've watched these things happen. I am not convinced that we couldn't have got Khabib to 30-0. I'm not convinced that Khabib wasn't interested in getting to 30-0. But Khabib came out and said, I'm done tonight. 29 is enough. And Khabib by the code that he lives by. Once he says it, does it. Now, we would not have thought of Khabib as a dishonest man. We wouldn't think that he was lying or he was provoking us or he was manipulating the media. We would simply realize that Khabib changed his mind. But with the code that Khabib lives by, he can now no longer do that. I was at the press conference right after Jon Jones beat Stipe Miocic. And Jon, to fight Tom Aspinall, throws out the biggest number he could think of. And that was 40 million. Now, the reason that number happened to be on Jon's brain is there was just a report that came out that a fight that happened the day before on Netflix, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, that Jake Paul was paid $40 million. Now, it was not true. It was never true. It's what they put out, though. And Jon had read it. Jon believed it was true. And when he was asked how much he was going to need to fight Aspinall, he yelled out the biggest number he could think of, which at that time was 40 million, because he just read the article about Jake Paul. But when you get back home and it's time to actually find a date and a venue and get this fight done, Jon's locked in at 40 million. I watched this happen. Jon had forgot why he said 40 million. Jon had forgot that this was part of the show. He forgot that 40 million was to get headlines and to put him in the same rare air as Jake Paul, who was controlling that week's headlines. And I only tell you that because I do have a little bit of a concern with Conor. I do. The words that Conor used are not true. Conor is not negotiating with the United States government. Nor has he ever. Nor will he ever. If you were to ask Conor McGregor the phone number to the United States government, he would not be able to produce it. Just for example, this is not real. But the voice in which Conor did the spoof interview is also not Conor's natural speaking voice. He's doing more and more interviews with this new voice. I enjoy Conor's voice. I like when Conor talks to you. The Macho Man, Randy Savage. Yeah, oh yeah. See, over time, he forgot that this wasn't his actual voice. Yeah, the people that know him. The people that know him say that he started to answer the telephone. He started to answer the telephone with this voice. And the people would say to him, Larry, why are you speaking like that? And he would say, I'm trying to stay into character at all times. This is how you become good at it. This is how you become good at the gimmick. All right, fair enough. There's something to be said for kayfabe. I'll just tell you, it's a little bit concerning for me. Only from the perspective of the things that Conor has put out is impossible to match. There is no 100 golden visas. There is no significance to Conor fighting at the White House. Like, that's not an American. Just for example, he is the biggest draw in the sport. Conor always gets the biggest paycheck. He gets that because he brings in more eyes than anybody. But if his plan is to come out and vocally, through the media, let it be known that all the stops are being pulled on America's Independence Day for somebody who is not an American, it's not a good look. He's creating a scenario that can't happen. And as long as he knows this is a character performing, much like this new speaking voice that he's developed, if he's out there just working, we've got no problem. The problem only becomes if and when he marks out for his own gimmick, which most guys eventually do, because we are whoever we pretend to be. If I was to state for you what Conor has said in the last 7 days, from 100 golden visas to $100 million to negotiation with the United States government, if I was to say to you the things that Conor just said in the last 7 days, there would be no clearer way for me to say to you, Conor doesn't want to fight. Conor is either performing for us, or he's telling us he doesn't want to fight without saying the actual words. At this point, I think we're in line with the performer. I will just tell you, in a short period of time, those great performers often forget, and there is nothing realistic about the claims, wishes, or demands of Conor McGregor.